We're back again for another episode of Powerslide Speaking Specs, and today's episode is a little bit speaking specs, but at the same time some helpful hints. See what I did there? Speaking specs, helpful hints. The reason why it's helpful is because one of the most common problems for all skaters when they're looking at the equipment is ensuring that the wheels spin freely and spin fast. So obviously, therefore, you're going to have a more enjoyable skating experience. The number one reason why your wheels won't spin freely is your spacer. Okay. Normally a spacer sits directly between the two bearings, and then when the tension of the axle clamps down, the spacer presses the bearings a little bit apart, and therefore they're free to spin. If the spacer is too short, they're going to clamp down too much, and then they're going to bind. Right, Matthias?
That's correct, and that's why it's really important to have all the different spacers. So I start here at my side, and here we have a nice upgrade, but it's a special one because it's using 6mm axles basically. So the diameter inside is a little bit bigger than, about 6.3, 6.2 millimeters. So the 6mm axle fits nicely inside. Fully CNC'd with anodized 6061 aircraft aluminum. So very stable, very stiff, but still also lightweight. So this will help your normal 6mm axle wheels basically and skates spin freely. This is normally the skates where like fitness skates, maybe older fitness skates, a lot of the brands still use it on their entry-level skates.
We're going to put these down here because we're going to save them for the grand finale.
Yeah.
So moving on to these normal, they're not like little UFOs. They're actually, in most spaces, they're self-centering. So this little ring around the center is basically to make it nice and simple when you're putting your single axle in the middle, that it will go in nice and smooth and you don't need to fish around in there to center up the spacer. So this will keep it nice and centered. And our standard 8mm spacer collection we have in 3 different lengths, because the length is quite important. As you know by now in this video,
it's 4 different, four different. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
As you know by now in this video, too short and your wheels are going to bind, but also if your spacer is too long, they're going to click from side to side. So we have our shortest ones, which is 10.2.
10.2, which is like a standard for most of the fitness wheels and most of the fitness skates out there. So this goes like, will fit well to like an infinity wheel, to like aftermarket wheels from other brands too. So this is a standard, comes in blue anodized, still the same material on all the spacers, basically 6061 aircraft aluminum, really nice CNC'd and all anodized. So you can, the color basically will tell you the length of the spacer.
And then moving up into the colored ones, we have the black, which is 10.35 millimeters, red is 10.37, and silver is 10.39. So generally what we recommend is for something like matter wheels, better to go the longer ones, so the 10.39 silver ones, because every wheel has a slightly different tolerance, but at the same time, and you might not believe this, but also bearings can vary a little bit too. And because you have 2 bearings in each wheel, each bearing tolerance is actually doubled. So all these little details can make a difference.
Yeah, especially like Scott was saying, the tolerances also on the wheels, they come in different cavities when you inject it. So not every mold is 100% the same. So even the plastic has a little bit shrinkage, and then, you have different cavities. So everything can move together, and then you're getting a lot of more tolerances between the bearings, the hub you're injecting and the shrinkage and all the little parts and pieces. And for sure, if we're talking about a 10.35, this is not always 10.35, could be a 10.34 and a 10.36 inside there too.
Right. So lucky last, and what we're talking about now is the grand finale. Basically, it's the Rolls Royce or the Formula One of the spacer industry. And it's if there's a spacer industry, but it's a magnesium-made, ultra lightweight spacer. So basically, it comes in the standard length, the 10.2 length, but because it's made out of magnesium, it is freakishly light. Each spacer weighs less than 1 gram. So that might not seem like a lot, but if you're really on the edge and looking for the absolute maximum performance, this is the one for you. Times by 8 again, this kind of thing adds up, and especially lifting it a few thousand times in a training session or a race, it's going to add up.
all our race team basically members, will use this mainly. Felix got world champion on them. So there's a lot of, people using them because it's really, like Scott says, added up weight, and it's quite some heavy weight at the end of a marathon.
So we're basically going to stop talking now because a spacer, it's a small detail, but a very important detail. But we don't want to bore you with talking about spacers too much. So number one thing, if your wheels aren't spinning, check your spacer length.
Thanks for watching and stay tuned. And remember, we love spacers and also we love to skate.